everyone's sat. So, yeah, that was kind of the main pervasive situation there. And really interesting to see all the attacks from people on the right about freedom of speech. It's so important. It's being sucked out of college campuses. Meanwhile, they'll turn around and say, play the game to just athletes who are who just want to exercise their right to protest. And the fact that they may be stopped, it's going to be pretty disturbing and interesting. So those, of course, are the big stories of the year. And it's not a year that we will soon forget, at least in the news world. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to this 160th episode of the Spenser Walsh Show. If you're connected to the internet, you may recognize this theme from my favorite YouTube channel of the year. So, tying it in there. H3 Productions. Gotta love this theme and gotta, of course, give them credit. So, H3 Productions, that's their theme song. It was made here by Echo Roarbot on SoundCloud. You can check them out there. So, okay. We have a lot of stuff to get to today, of course, in this segment especially. You may have been wondering why or when we were going to get to it, but it's time for the biggest stories in sports. The year started off with a bang with Clemson. One of the biggest upsets of the year kicked off the highlight portion of the year when Clemson Tigers upset Alabama's Crimson Tide on a touchdown catch from Hunter Renfrow with 1 second left. It was the first time the Tigers led an entire game and capped off a night when Deshaun Watson set a national championship game record with 405 passing yards. And we're going to keep this music because I kind of like it. I got to be honest, I kind of like it. So Serena Williams set a Grand Slam record this year as we're going to continue to move through these stories. And for the 7th time, Williams conquered the Outback, winning the Australian Open. In the process, she won her 23rd Grand Slam singles title, passing Steffi Graf for the most all time. To cap it off, she later revealed that she was astonishingly 8 weeks pregnant at the time of that victory and one of the biggest stages out there in tennis today. All right, so also, how can you forget this year was the 2016-17 Super Bowl. Trailing 28-3, the New England Patriots would embark on a furious comeback over the final quarter and have to pull even by the end of regulation. The first Super Bowl ever to be decided in overtime, a 2-yard run by James White capped a 75-yard winning drive for the Patriots, winning by a score of 34-28. Tom Brady won his 4th overall Super Bowl MVP that game and a record 5th overall victory in the game. So, pretty incredible stuff. So, Team USA also kind of, won the World Baseball Classic. Do we really care? Not really. But 13 years after his last appearance, Bill Goldberg made his return to spectacle match against Brock Lesnar in the WWE. Sergio Garcia finally got his major victory after 74 shots. Garcia finally got over the hump in the major tournament this year. Although the 37-year-old had 9 PGA Tour wins and 5 top 3 finishes in major tournaments, the big one that eluded him more notably than perhaps any golfer ever. By outlasting Justin Rose in a sudden death overtime, Garcia finally got his green jacket by shooting 9 under for the weekend in the Masters. A star was born in Edmonton. It may be something akin to deja vu for Edmonton fans as another precociously talented center took his turn to rising to stardom in a way that had been rarely seen since Wayne Gretzky called the Oilers ice his home. Connor McDavid scored 100 points in the sophomore season, helping it end the club's 11-year playoff drought and making him the 3rd youngest winner of the Art Ross and Hart trophies in history with NHL best 100 points. In World Soccer, the Spanish League champions, FC Barcelona, were down 5-3 with 88 minutes before unleashing a comeback in the final 7 minutes as the match wound down. Neymar netted a pair of goals to even things up before Sergio Roberto came off the bench and netted his first goal of the year to cap the comeback. Barcelona became the first team in the Champions League history to overcome a 4-0 deficit off the first pitch. Nashville became a hockey hotbed this year. 20 years ago, the notion Nashville would have been hotbed for hockey would have been a stand-up comedy with content, yet the city adapted the game, transforming into Smashville and becoming one of the most hostile home ice advantages in the game. The Warriors fulfilled their promise. Expectations were through the roof for the Warriors all season after the team rallied from losing the 2016 NBA Finals by bringing aboard former MVP Kevin Durant, with Durant joining Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. The Warriors went 67-15 and clinched the playoff berth by February. In their third pairing against LeBron James and the Cavs, the Warriors got their revenge for the lost championship the year before, with Durant averaging 35.24 points en route to being NBA Finals MVP. The Penguins do it again, and the Ball family does it for the first time. Starting with the rise of Lonzo as a freshman sensation for UCLA, the Ball family has become the sports equivalent of the Kardashian clan, seemingly overnight. The father's LeVar's penchant for outlandish statements and pushing the big baller brand sportswear company at any cost pushed the Balls firmly into the pop culture spectrum. With Lonzo joining the LA Lakers and his youngest brothers, who had a notorious brush with international law himself, LiAngelo, and LaMelo coming up behind him, this is a sensation that's likely here to stay for the foreseeable future as they move to, Lithuania now? Aaron Judge clubbed his way to superstar status. The breakout star for the MLB season was the hulking 6'7" outfielder for the New York Yankees. Judge launched an MLB rookie record 52 home runs en route to an all-star home run derby title. The runner finished in the AL MVP voting and helped carry the Yankees on an unexpected run to the AL Championship Series. Alright. Rafael Nadal had a spectacular season. The King of Clay conquered Roland Garros in the French Open for a record 10th time at a 15th Grand Slam title, becoming the first male competitor to ever reach double-digit titles at a single Grand Slam event. Nadal's French title was followed by a victory in the U.S. Open and high points in the year, which he won 6 times and finished as the oldest player ever to end the year ranked number 1 in the world. British cyclist Chris Froome won his 4th Tour de France and did so in the most thrilling fashion ever. Froome won just 54 seconds behind Rigoberto Urán, and marked Froome's 4th win in 5 years. He entered the 2018 with a chance to tie for the most Tour victories in history. Just hope he's not doping again. That'd be pretty nice. Alright, so not Lewis, but LaDainian. I'm thinking of the One Direction guy. LaDainian Tomlinson got in the Hall of Fame as he headlined the Pro Football Hall of Fame inductees. Joining him and then Canton were Kurt Warner, Jason Taylor, Morton Anderson, Terrell Davis, and Jerry Jones. Neymar became one of the most expensive athletes ever, as Paris Saint-Germain set out to acquire the superstar Brazilian forward and did so by any means necessary. When it was all said and done, it cost the club a massive 450 million euros to lure him away from Barcelona, with a transfer fee worth $262 million in U.S. currency. The total value of the acquisition makes him the most expensive acquisition in pro sports history. En route to winning a 2nd straight American League title for roughly 3 weeks, the Cleveland Indians seemingly forgot how to lose. The club embarked on an AL record 22-game win streak and pulled it to the top of the AL standings, and ended the 2nd longest winning streak since 1916. It was the end of the road this year for the world's fastest man. No, not Barry Allen, Usain Bolt. After an unparalleled career that saw him win 8 Olympic gold medals and set numerous world records, Usain Bolt's final take to the track ended in less than the savory way. The legendary sprinter injured his hamstring in the final race, yet still rose to cross the finish line with the help of his teammates. Usain Bolt, fastest man in the world. That's right. Giancarlo Stanton had a record year, and so did baseball, as Cooperstown welcomed 5 to the Baseball Hall of Fame. After 10 years on the ballot, Tim Raine finally heard his name called for Cooperstown as the 0 hour for his chances ticked down. The former Montreal expert speedster was joined in induction by a trio of former MVPs in Jeff Bagwell, Ivan Rodriguez, and Joe Torre, along with Commissioner Emeritus Bud Selig. Houston Strong was a big thing in sports this year. Hurricane Harvey wreaked havoc on the city of Houston, forcing thousands to evacuate their homes and causing millions of dollars in property damage. The sports community was sprung into action to help aid residents of the city, with Houston Astros using strong awareness and pushed the multi-million-dollar donations from ownership of the Astros, Rockets, and the Texans. Yet the breakout effort from the campaign came from J.J. Watt, who grew a viral campaign that started with a goal of $200,000 into a $30 million nest egg to help fund the city's rebuilding efforts, raising incredible $30 million to help out his city. The curious unemployment of Colin Kaepernick continued, and Sloane Stephens won the U.S. Open. Former Houston Rockets, Orlando Magic, and Toronto Raptors star Tracy McGrady and UConn and New York Liberty great Rebecca Lobo highlighted an 11-person class for the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Joining the headliners were Bill Self, Jerry Krause, and George McGinnis. For the Basketball Hall of Fame this year, Mayweather versus McGregor lived up to the hype. It should come as no surprise the most hype, sensational, financially successful, and sometimes awkward event of the year was Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor mega fight from September. It was a headline event after the World Media Tour Blitz and the war of words that nearly eclipsed the fight itself. In the end, Mayweather won via a TKO and surprisingly competitive fight against two-division UFC champion, with both fighters clearing a rumored $300 million for the 10-round brawl. It was an incredible payday for both of them. Also, this you can't tell the story of sports this year without protests getting political and really spreading. After contentious times in the NFL hit a new boiling point when President Donald Trump shared some choice words about protesting players and a perceived lack of institutional control by league owners and Commissioner Roger Goodell, affairs went even as far as President Mike Pence leaving a Colts 49ers game in apparent rebuttal against the protests. In response, multiple NFL owners joined arms with the players in a show of league solidarity. However, the act went against the grain of the purpose of the protest in the first place, further irking some players as well. They spread to the MLB as well, not the NBA, I don't think. Also, you can really have to mention this here, is the U.S. men's national team failed to qualify for the World Cup. The most embarrassing moment of this history of U.S. soccer transpired in October at the defeat of a 2-1 loss to Trinidad and Tobago. The U.S. men's national team was disqualified from the 2018 World Cup tournament. The loss was a proverbial brick wall in the recent growth of the men's program, and it led to the immediate resignation of Bruce Arena, who was the second coaching change in 2 years. So they're pretty much in chaos right now. The Fall Classic lived up to his name, and whoever ends up participating in the 2018 edition of the World Series really has some big shoes to fill after last year's. The Dodgers and Astros put on an act for the ages this fall. The series was the first time in 37 years that two 100-win teams would face off for the pennant, and delivered going the distance in thrilling fashion. Neither team would win consecutive games, and when the dust settled after a 25 home runs hit, the two extra inning games, and seemingly end a string of lead changes, Houston Astros emerged victorious with their first championship in franchise history. Houston strong, but they beat the Yankees on the way to get there. Also, a big story in the NFL this year was injuries. The cover of Sports Illustrated this week tells all about it. Football is a vicious and oft unforgiving sport, but the rash of injuries that swept across the NFL this fall hit a caliber rarely seen before. A who's who of losses, including the likes of Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham Jr., J.J. Watt, David Johnson, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Palmer, Dalvin Cook, Jason Peters, Julian Edelman, Richard Sherman, and Eric Berry, among others, took an unavoidable toll on the direction of the season. Also, Ezekiel Elliott's off-field trouble extends to on the field. The college football process is getting crazier. Tennessee's search for a coach turned into reality TV, really. The fallout of the University of Tennessee's decision to fire Butch Jones had caused a tailspin of uniquely epic proportions. An agreement with Ohio State defensive coordinator Greg Schiano was rescinded due to in part by unprecedented social media backlash from fans. The search that followed ranged from John Gruden to Purdue coach Jeff Brom to Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy, only to come up embarrassingly dry. The entire event was mishandled badly, enough that the program's athletic director John Curry ended up on the chopping block as well, with former coach Philip Fulmer taking over in his place. It took a while, but they finally found coach Jeremy Pruitt. Probably just out of sympathy, I guess. Those are the biggest sports stories of the year on the Spenser Walsh Show Hero Interview Special, right here on the Spenser Walsh Radio Network.